You want to see what state the Catholic Church is in Ireland today? Just look at yourself. There's the state of the Catholic Church. And whatever that may be, good or bad as may be, that's what the church has to work with. You and I are the substrate. That's as good as it gets. But I want to encourage you. You have been anointed and appointed and born for this moment. By virtue of our baptism, we have the dignity of Christ on earth. You are called to be a light in the shining in the darkness. You are called to be a light in the darkness for the upright. You are called to be a proclaimer of salvation. The Irish have done it before, and we are in the middle of doing it again. Hello everyone, Patrick McCrystal here, and today's podcast we're speaking about the Irish Referendums, the war on communism, and the Holy Face devotion. They're all linked together, and there's a lot of good stuff to unpack today. Are these upcoming Irish referendums in any way in if you like in cooperation or coordination with a communistic, atheistic outlook on the world? Well, we're going to unpack that now a little bit. So let me just read to you what communism is all about, what atheistic communism is all about in the words of the church, in the words of the popes. Now, communism advocates forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions, the revolt of employees against employers, fomenting the differences between the rich and the poor, the elimination of all religion, the elimination of all classes, the elimination of morality, the elimination of private property, the elimination of freedom, violent revolution, sees the individual person as simply a molecule within the whole social organism of the economic social mechanisms. Life is not sacred and therefore is expendable. Communism will allow millions to die if it advances the cause of communism. Marriage, motherhood, and family is not esteemed. Mothers are pushed out into the workforce because they're seen merely as individual economic producing units. And there's a twisted understanding of equality and what equality is and how it is to be applied. Now, Pope Pius XI said socialism, meaning communism, cannot be reconciled with Catholic doctrine and is completely adverse to the true Christian way of life. He said, there are in society, some are strong, some are weak, some are intelligent, some less capable. There's a certain inequality that is therefore inevitable, material, intellectual, and moral, even in the same family. And the Pope says that to claim the absolute equality of all would be to want identical functions for different members of the same body. He says that human society, as God has established it, is formed of unequal elements as are unequal members of the human body. Making them all equal is impossible. That would be the very destruction of human society. It follows that, this is Pius the Ninth, that according to the order established by God, here's the church's vision, that there should be in society princes and vassals, employers and workers, rich and poor, wise and ignorant, nobles and commoners, all of whom, united by a common bond of love, help themselves and each other to achieve their ultimate end in the sky and their moral and material well-being on earth. And the church teaches that that everyone has the individual right, the right to individual freedom, individual private property, and we are all linked together with bonds of love and assisting one another, not just in our material well-being on earth, but helping one another attain heaven. and that Pope Benedict XVI and Pope John Paul II both point to the profound lack of proper anthropological understanding that communism has. In fact, it's called a fatal flaw, I believe, in Pope Benedict's words, where communism does not understand the nature of man and made in God's image and likeness. And because of that extremely distorted viewpoint of what is man, what is human being, what are human beings, the whole communistic mindset takes society way off down the track of a lot of destruction and pain. Now, what does the church say about the purpose of the state? And this is very important, especially with the upcoming referendums that we're looking at. The Catechism of the Catholic Church in paragraph 2431 states that economic activity presupposes sure guarantees of individual freedom and private property, as well as a stable currency and efficient public services. Therefore, now listen to this, the principal task of the state is to guarantee this security, that is, individual freedom, private property, stable currency, and efficient public services. And overseeing and directing the exercise of human rights in the economic sector. So, again, the principal task of the state is to guarantee this security so that those who work, and I'm quoting now, that those who work and produce can enjoy the fruits of their labours and thus feel encouraged to work efficiently and honestly. And in the church's vision, private initiative, industrious working produces fruits that people deserve to reap the benefit from. And this is, the church advocates, is a godly way of approaching things. Now, I've just heard recently, this last week, that very worryingly, that in counties like Donegal and other counties, that there's a law coming in where if you own a field and it's not being used, that you're going to be taxed maybe even up to €3,000 a year for that field, even if it's not being used. And if that's true, if that report is true, that is a profoundly worrying development in Irish society. What's going on here? What about private property? Because after a couple of years, at €3,000 a year, you've gone way beyond the price of the field. So what's really going on then? So then there are all sorts of other dynamics going on in Ireland that are really very, very worrying. Nobody seems to know about them. They don't seem to be being reported in the so-called mainstream media, and that's another whole conversation that we could do a podcast about. And so people are largely unaware of these laws and regulations coming in. And then in light of all this, with these referendums coming up on the 9th of March, and one of the referendums revolves around removing the constitutional protection of mothers working in the home, and that seems to be very much in unity with this whole communistic mindset that I've just elaborated and read out and quoted on, the denigration of mothers in the home. Now, there's a whole lot of misinformation flying around. For example, some people are saying the Constitution states the woman's place is in a home, which is absolutely not what the Constitution states. It's stating that the woman's role and the worth that she contributes to society is to be protected. It's not forcing anybody to do anything. But if women and mothers choose to be in the home, that they have at this moment constitutional protection. And that's all going to be removed. Now, what's going on there? The Irish people are not looking for it. What's driving this? Could this be communistic outlook being coming in from abroad, because it's not coming from the indigenous Irish people? And what is going on here in the vessels of government and law, that the law is being used to attack the very fundamental pillar of society, motherhood, the family, rearing children, and ultimately the family is the cell of it's called the domestic church, and is the cell of society. The church teaches that individuals are not the cell of society. It's actually the family, based on husband and wife and children, in the church's view, is the cell, the most basic cell of society. And here, through the legislation and through the referendum and getting people to vote on this, there seems to be a profound attack on the very essence of Irish society, Irish culture. And then yet the referendum also, that same day, also one another part of it is removing the reference to family from the Constitution and replacing the reference to family based on husband, wife, and children to with the terms durable relationship. And what does the word durable relationship mean? That can mean absolutely anything. It makes a real fool, it makes a real farce of constitutional protection of any class or any set of people in society. Oh, the only guideline now is durable relationship. What does that mean? And how long does a durable relationship have to last? 3 seconds? 20 years? What's going on here? So there's something very worrying going on here that's been rushed through, and it's not the people of Ireland that are asking for this, and yet a dismantling of really important societal protections and norms that's going on. Now, the church then has written several encyclicals about atheistic communism and really outlines the view that it is to be resisted and opposed. And you could ask the question today, what can I do? I'm at home, I've got my spouse, my children, my family, my grandparents, my children. What can I do about atheistic communism and these referendums and all the things that are going on in society and all the very worrying trends that we're seeing going on all around us? And that feeds into exactly one of the things that we want to talk about today is that heaven's remedy to atheistic communism is the holy face of Jesus devotion. Now, this is something that has been revealed by heaven to two Carmelite nuns, one Sister Mary of St. Peter in the 1800s and one in the 1900s to now Blessed Maria Perina de Miceli. And heaven revealed that holy devotion to the holy face of Jesus was heaven's remedy, and I quote, heaven's remedy to the attack of atheistic communism on society. And it's all Vatican approved, it's all been verified, and the Pope has elevated those who are involved or in the promotion of devotion to the Holy Face can be part of what's called an arch confraternity, which attracts enormous blessings for those who sign up and become part of this arch confraternity. And it's a whole movement that was very strong in Ireland a couple of 100 years ago and is now seeing a resurgence in Ireland across the world. And we in Human Life International in Ireland, this last 10 years or so, have been doing and releasing and unveiling full-size billboards of the Holy Face of Jesus, bringing and setting up people with public vigils on Good Friday, and now in the hundreds, doing a global campaign on Facebook every Lent, every Holy Week, every Easter week on the Holy Face of Jesus, and we've made up to 7 million views year after year after year. And the whole thing about the Holy Face medal was revealed to Blessed Mother Maria de Petrina de Miceli. Padre Pio regarded the Holy Face medal, it's a special medal with the face of Jesus from the Shroud of Turin, and there's special Latin inscriptions on it, and that's all explained in our booklet. That it was he gave it out to people, and he said, "Here's your ticket to heaven." It was so powerful. So if you're somebody who doesn't wear a Holy Face of Jesus medal, a blessed one, get one and put it on. And Padre Pio, who's now a saint in heaven, a renowned and indisputable miracle worker, with devotees of millions and millions across the world, said, "This is your ticket to heaven." So bring it on down now, more specifically to Ireland today. The Holy Face of Jesus devotion is now there. It attracts enormous promises, and it's based on devotion to, first of all, the veil of Veronica that was wiped, that had wiped the face of Jesus at the time of us going up the Via Dolorosa, the way of the cross, and she broke through the mob and ran up to him, wiped his face, and heaven granted her the the enormous, the unspeakable gift of the image of his face on the cloth that is still preserved in the Vatican today, and and this whole devotion was so took the imagination of Saint Therese of the Child Jesus around about 1890 or so, that she decided to take the name Saint Therese of the Child Jesus and of the Holy Face, and was the whole devotion was enormously promoted and moved forward on the world stage through the efforts of a lawyer in Tours in France called uh, um, blessed, what's his name? Sorry, Leo Dupont. So Leo Dupont, that a lawyer in Tours in France, and he started burning an oil in front of an image of the Holy Face. And when one day somebody came in and they had a sickness, and he dipped his finger in the oil, uh, burning in front of the image, and anointed the person, and they got instantly healed. And then a week later, the same thing happened to somebody else, and this triggered a whole avalanche of people starting coming from all over Europe and the world to his house to get anointed, and it's all described in the book, the life of Leo Dupont, um, the miracles, millions, thousands of miracles, and cancers disappearing in front of people's eyes as he anointed them. And so then the Pope of the time and got to hear of all this and looked at all the evidence and then decided to elevate the whole concept of devotion to Jesus' holy face to the level of an arch confraternity, which attracts enormous spiritual blessings and graces for those who are involved. So uh, this Lent and this year, we are going in renewed way in Human Life International Ireland, and we're seeking to establish a Holy Face of Jesus prayer group at every single village in the country. Every single village. And there is a reference to Jesus saying to the people of France, woe to the towns that do not pray these prayers. We don't want to see that happening, our Irish villages. And we want every single village in the town to avoid those words, woe to the towns that do not pray these prayers. So we're looking to have folk help us work around the country, province by province, county by county, establishing holy face devotion in your village, in your town, in your area. And a holy face, we've got all the equipment, all the data, all the know-how, the sheets, the prayer sheets, the booklets, the medals, the format that you need to follow. And it's very simple. Minimum of 2 people, 40 minutes once a week. Tuesdays are the days that are traditionally the day in honor of the Holy Face. A minimum of 2 people praying the prayers in the booklet, praying the 5 decades of the Rosary, lifting up the intentions that we'll supply you with. And you can be sure that if you do that, or you start doing that in your town or your village or your neighborhood, you are turning a light on in the darkness. And you may not see the light, but heaven sees the light. The angels see the light. The demons see the light. And all of a sudden, as holy face devotions spread throughout Ireland and beyond across the world, the more people are praying the holy face devotions, and they are Vatican approved. It's not even a question now that it's just some private revelation. It's all completely approved by the church. You can be sure that you're turning on a light in your area. And there's a word in scripture that one sends to flight 10 and 10 sends to flight 1,000. One man, one praying person can send to flight 10 enemies of God. 10 praying people together can send to flight 1,000 enemies of God. So just imagine 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people in your town praying the devotion of the holy face of Jesus in your town once a week. Just imagine in the spiritual realm how you will be sending to flight the enemies of God. You have the power in your hands, folks. The world, the flesh, and the devil, the media, the global powers that are coming upon Ireland and the world would have us all believe that you and I have no power. We're helpless. It's all over. They have the power. Their agenda's coming in. There's nothing we can do about it. We just may as well just hang up our boots and just lie back and let them have their way and rule over us. But that's not what the Irish are called to. We Irish are called to be a proclaimer of salvation to all the earth. We're called to proclaim the good news. Our charism is proclamation of the salvation of God to the ends of the earth. We did it once before, and we're called to do it again. And holy face devotion is one of the tools. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be sick in bed. You could be sick in hospital. You could be 80 or 90 or 100 years old. It doesn't matter. You have the power. We have the power. One man and God is an army. And it's not a matter of Christ's victory. It's not a matter of if. It's only a matter of when. And you and I are called by heaven to be part of Christ's victory. And Christ's victory is coming, whether you are part of it or not. You and I may as well just be as part of it as not be a part of it. If we are part of it, I like to think that we could help hasten it. But if we're not part of it, it's coming, folks. And you and I can choose today what side you're on, light or darkness, the Christ or the Antichrist, the spirit of death or the spirit of life. Pope John Paul II told the young people in Philadelphia back in the 90s, we're now in the days of the final clash, the final dramatic confrontation between the church and the anti-church, the Christ and the Antichrist. And he says, this is a struggle that every one of you has a duty and a responsibility to take up. We're in it, folks, and you and I are called. We have been called and appointed and anointed by God for this moment. You are as good as it gets. You want to see what state the Catholic Church is in Ireland today? Just look at yourself. There's the state of the Catholic Church. And whatever that may be, good or bad as may be, that's what the church has to work with. You and I are the substrate. That's as good as it gets. But I want to encourage you. You have been anointed and appointed and born for this moment. By virtue of our baptism, we have the dignity of Christ on earth. You are called to be a light in the shining in the darkness. You are called to be a light in the darkness for the upright. You are called to be a proclaimer of salvation. The Irish have done it before, and we are in the middle of doing it again. We're not even going to do it. We are doing it. It's happening right now today. It's happening all over Ireland. So if you're not already involved, connect with us in Human Life International Ireland, www.humanlife.ie. Join our mailing list. We send out a few thousand letters every month. It's one of our best ways of strengthening the Catholic community, strengthening the Catholic faithful, giving you the tools and the equipment to sustain you and encourage you in your faith. And together we're looking to build a culture of life, but not just a culture of life, the culture of the kingdom of God, the kingdom of Jesus Christ. So that's all I have to say today. Wishing you every blessing. We hope to see you. We'll be praying away about the referendums, and no matter what the outcomes of the referendum might be, just know that Christ has Ireland in the palm of his hand. His hand is upon us, and it's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when. God bless.